Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really fundamental, maybe a bit tricky even. The whole idea of coming home to yourself.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's a journey. And the sources we looked at, they really start with this feeling, almost a quiet ache, they call it.
Right, that feeling. Maybe it hits you late at night or just in a quiet moment where you suddenly realize, wow, I've been running. Just running so far away from myself.
Exactly. Like your soul is just tired. And what's really interesting in this material is how it defines the goal here. It's not about becoming someone totally new, which is what we often think.
Like a total makeover.
Right. Instead, this deep dive is framed more as remembering. Remembering who you've always been, sort of underneath all the expectations and the roles we play.
That really sets up a core tension right away, doesn't it? Because, well, the society kind of tells us healing should look productive, like another thing to achieve.
Performative healing, yeah. We think we need to fix ourselves, optimize everything. But these sources suggest that real healing, true coming home, it's actually, well, it's messy. It's soft. It involves being unsure.
Hmm. That feels counterintuitive.
It does. We're in this culture that just glorifies productivity, right? Even with our emotion, wellness becomes like a checklist or a race.
Yeah, how efficiently can I heal?
Exactly. But the wisdom here seems to be that the version of you that's genuinely magnetic, maybe, is the one that lets itself be soft. That's okay with not knowing. That isn't constantly apologizing for existing.
That softness. It feels revolutionary, like the source said.
It really does. Because it pushes back against that constant pressure.
Okay, let's unpack that pressure, the performance trap. Because I think everyone listening can probably relate to this on some level. Spending years, maybe unconsciously, just auditioning.
Auditioning for acceptance.
Yeah, and the sources get specific, don't they?
Yeah.
About the versions we chase, trying to be the prettier one, the more successful one, the less emotional one, whatever we think people want.
It's exhausting, absolutely exhausting. And underneath that, the driving force is this deep-seated fear, isn't it? That who you are just naturally isn't quite enough.
So you need to earn love.
You feel you have to earn it by performing for it.
Yeah.
You end up chasing validation, the source says, as if it's oxygen. We shrink ourselves, twist ourselves to fit.
Yeah, into whatever box seems safest or most rewarding at the time.
Mm-hmm. But then there's this potential for a radical shift, something really powerful the material points to.
Which is?
It's that internal decision, simple but not easy, just deciding, I don't need to be chosen to be worthy.
Wow, okay. So detaching your worth from external approval.
Exactly. Your worth just is. It's not conditional. And that leads straight into where you actually start with this work.
Which isn't about pushing harder.
No, surprisingly, it starts with gentleness. The sources emphasize forgiving yourself for all the things you did just to survive.
Ah, so understanding that the performance, the chasing, it came from a place of needing safety.
Precisely. It was a strategy, maybe the only one you knew back then, so it needs compassion, not judgment.
I can see some people thinking, though, okay, gentleness, forgiveness, but doesn't growth need, like, some effort, some rigor? Is this just letting myself off the hook?
That's a fair question. And the material seems to distinguish between, let's say, rigorous self-awareness and just self-punishment.
Okay.
Rigor built on self-love is different from pushing yourself out of shame. This gentleness isn't about avoiding effort. It's about stopping the performance cycle. That actually frees up energy for the real work, the messy growth.
Which isn't linear.
Not at all. And that's a perfect bridge to the next point, this myth of linear progress in healing.
Right. Section 2, we've touched on how the world loves productivity. So we map that onto healing, thinking it should be a neat step-by-step process, a checklist.
A healing to-do list. Or an aesthetic even, like, look how well I'm healing on social media.
Yeah. But the source material pushes back hard, saying it doesn't move in straight lines. So if it's not linear, how do you even know you're making progress? How do you measure it?
That's the key. You measure it differently, not by external markers maybe, but by an internal shift. A growing sense of quietness, perhaps.
Okay.
The sources really emphasize that true growth is messy, unpredictable, and deeply human. It's not about polishing something for public view. It's this constant cycle, just trying things, maybe falling back, learning from it, integrating that learning.
So it's less about graduating from healing.
And more about deepening your practice of being present with yourself. Yeah.
Okay, but let's make this concrete. Because if it doesn't look like climbing a ladder, what does real, quiet growth actually look like day to day? What are those small, maybe non-obvious wins?
This is where the material gets really helpful, I think. It gives very grounded examples. Sometimes growth is just finally saying no. Saying no to something that you know will drain you, even if saying no feels uncomfortable or disappoints someone else in the moment, that's a huge act of reclaiming your energy.
That resonates. It's like drawing a boundary for your own well-being.
Exactly. Or another example they gave, which I found powerful, was about protecting your peace.
How so?
Sometimes healing is as simple and as difficult as deleting that text message. You know the one. The one from someone that you know is just going to reopen an old wound or pull you back into drama.
Oh, yeah. Choosing not to engage. Closing the door before the storm comes in.
Right. Or even simpler, more mundane things. Growth can be just brushing your teeth when you feel overwhelmed and want to give up.
Really? Simple hygiene.
Yeah. Or going for a short walk. Or, and this is a big one, letting yourself cry without guilt. Those small acts where you choose your own basic physical or emotional need over the pressure to just keep going, keep performing, keep pretending you're fine.
You're allowing your humanity, basically,
What?
giving it space.
Precisely. You're prioritizing your actual state over some ideal.
That connects really well to that ocean analogy the sources use. Healing isn't about keeping the water perfectly still all the time, which is kind of what we aim for, right?
We do. We want that perfect, calm surface. But the analogy suggests healing is like the ocean itself, that has different states.
Sometimes calm and reflective.
Right. And other times it's stormy, wild, reflecting maybe some deep internal stuff coming up. But the crucial point is it's always the ocean.
It's always whole.
Yes, and it's always in its own way moving toward balance. So the goal, the material reminds us, isn't to fix yourself. That implies you're broken.
Which are not.
Exactly. The goal is maybe just to see yourself fully, honestly, without constantly trying to edit the picture, witnessing the storm and the calm, and accepting both are part of you.
Okay, seeing ourselves fully. That takes awareness. Real awareness, which feels like the seed for any real change and brings us to that third theme.
Awareness is transformation.
The sources suggest that real self-love isn't loud declarations, necessarily. It's often quieter. It's about sitting with your feelings instead of running from them.
Okay, that sounds hard.
It's probably the hardest part because our instinct, our conditioning often is to distract, numb it, run away. We're scared the feeling will just swallow us whole if we sit with it.
Yeah.
But the insight here is that self-growth isn't really about reaching some state of perfection. It's fundamentally about becoming aware, just noticing. That awareness itself is the shift. It's when you stop being completely run by the old patterns.
Yes. So what specific patterns does the material suggest we start looking out for? What are those signals that we're caught in an old loop?
Well, there are a few key ones mentioned. Definitely the mental chatter, that constant overthinking, analyzing everything to death.
The hamster wheel.
Totally. And the self-doubt that just creeps in and undermines you.
Yeah.
But also critically, noticing how you seek connection. Do you find yourself drawn to people or situations that feel familiarly painful? Seeking love from people who kind of mirror old wounds, as the source puts it, repeating a dynamic.
Exactly. You keep going back to the same type of, well, hoping for different water. Just noticing that pattern. Oh, here I go again. That's the beginning of having a choice about it.
But noticing that must bring up pain, right? You have to look at the wound again.
You do. It's unavoidable. But this is where the material talks about transforming pain into wisdom. It's not about wallowing, but allowing the feeling to move through you.
Letting it teach you something.
Yes, instead of pushing it down where it just festers and gets louder. And part of this process is saying goodbye to old versions of you with gratitude, not shame.
Gratitude. Even for the parts you don't like.
Yeah, thanking that version of you for doing the best they could to survive whatever you went through, appreciating the coping mechanisms even if they don't serve you anymore, and then gently letting them go.
That requires a lot of patience with
Yeah,
yourself.
immense patience. And that seems to be what we struggle with most, doesn't it? Which brings us perfectly to the final section.
Yeah, that internal rush, that feeling of being behind. We look around, compare ourselves, scroll through feeds, and the inner critic just goes wild. You should be further along. Why aren't you fixed yet?
It's relentless, that self-criticism. It's like a final trap door on the path home. And the source material offers this really grounding counter message, almost a mantra.
Which is?
You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Just letting that sink in.
That takes trust, though. Trusting some kind of timing that isn't dictated by your own impatience or comparison.
Huge trust. The source says something like, the universe trusts your timing, so maybe we should try to as well. It requires radical self-acceptance of where you actually are right now.
So why is that so hard? Why do we resist trusting our own rhythm?
I think it goes back to that need for external validation, maybe. But this final part of the material is really a call for radical self-recognition, recognizing your own resilience.
How do we do that?
Well, the source poses a simple question. When was the last time you actually looked at yourself, maybe in the mirror, and genuinely said, I'm proud of you?
Hmm. Probably not often enough.
Right. We're so quick to list our flaws, our failures, but the material urges you to see the strength that's already there. See the resilience in your own eyes.
Because you've survived everything up to this point.
Exactly. Every heartbreak, every lonely night, every time doubt screamed you weren't good enough, you navigated all of that, you're still here. That endurance, that's not a weakness to overcome, it's profound strength.
That perspective shifts things.
It really does. And it leads into what feels like the ultimate takeaway from all this material we explored.
Which is?
Healing, coming home. It's not waiting for life to be perfect to start loving yourself. It's not about waiting until you've achieved X, Y, or Z.
It's deciding now.
It's deciding that you deserve peace now. In the middle of the mess, before everything is figured out, you stop making grace conditional.
Wow. That's powerful.
And making that choice, it often involves looking back at the version of you that you might judge the most. The tired one, the confused one, the one who felt lost.
Yeah.
And realizing, as the source beautifully puts it, that she was actually the one who saved you. Because despite feeling broken or lost, she never gave up.
That version deserves honor, not judgment.
Absolutely. Deep honor.
So, okay. We've covered a lot. Thinking about the listener, what does this deep dive really boil down to? What are the choices you can make, like today?
It seems to come down to these quiet internal pivots, choice points.
Like choosing peace over chaos, even in small ways.
Yes. And choosing honesty, being real with yourself over pretending you've got it all together.
And crucially, choosing patience with your own process over that constant internal pressure to hurry up.
Exactly. Those feel like the core actions. And alongside those choices, remember the permissions granted here.
The permission slips. I like that framing.
Yeah. You are allowed to rest without feeling guilty about it.
Okay. That's a big one for many people.
You are allowed to not know what's next. Uncertainty is okay.
You don't need all the answers right now.
Right. And maybe most importantly, you are allowed to just exist in your current state, maybe messy, maybe unsure, maybe soft, and still be completely fundamentally worthy.
That feels like the foundation. Worthiness isn't earned.
It's inherent. So maybe the final thought to leave you with, something the source has hinted at, is to stop rushing your becoming.
Stop rushing.
Yeah, even when it feels like things are falling apart, maybe you're not actually falling apart. Maybe, as the material suggests, you're unfolding.
Unfolding. I like that.
So perhaps the invitation is to take a breath. Trust that unfolding process. Trust your own timing, even if it feels like it's happening in slow motion. Because that quiet, sometimes slow unfolding, maybe that's the most beautiful part of the journey home.